Hello, you guys. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is having a wonderful end of the week and you're getting all ready for the weekend. So, hello, Kim. How are you doing? Hi, Mena. So, yeah, you guys, it seems like when it rains, it actually does literally pour. And why we mean by that is that yesterday we had the chance to react to a video where groomer David Miscavige, groomer of children David Miscavige, had no shred of shame to video record the way that all Scientology parents and all Scientology executives agreed was a very religious situationship, that they really have deluded themselves to act with a full straight face, spewing the garbage lie that children are just adults. So that brings us right back to literal Netflix, believe it or not. Netflix that just put out a show called Netflix, the program Cons, Cults, Kidnapping, and Scientology. So give it up to Netflix for blessing us with the program check. Ours was called The Bridge. Cons, check. We were getting our passports locked up and falsely imprisoned inside hotel rooms and video recorded inside hotel rooms. Check, it was a con. Cults, check, it was a cult. Kidnapping, checked. Our passports were locked up. We were held against our will inside hotel rooms. So, yet again, with the troubled teen industry, another $1 billion industry. You guys, isn't it great that all it takes in America to circumvent all the laws is for you to have $1 billion in the bank? What did Jeffrey and Ghislaine have in the bank? $1 billion. What does the troubled teen industry have in the bank? Billions of dollars. What does Scientology have in the bank? Billions of dollars. So isn't that great, you guys, that we live in a country that purports to be all about the law? Law and order is the pitch, mostly from the corporate media. The mainstream media, oh yeah, you guys, we do live in a country where we really do have due process and we really do fund agencies billions and billions of dollars, right, FBI? That's how much y'all get funded. Billions and billions and billions, and yet not a single shred of dollar has kept a single shred of child in the troubled teen industry or in Scientology safe. Children who, believe it or not, cannot fend for themselves. Imbeciles at the FBI that do not know how to investigate. We have a crisis of critical thinking skills in this country, you guys. Breaking news. Why are all critical thinking skills in this country paralyzed the minute $1 billion accounts show up on the negotiation table? Why? So that's what we're talking about, you guys, because yesterday we all saw it on video. David with the 12-year-old. And if you didn't see it, go and watch it. And if you can, I really want to implore all of you who are joining us right now, as you're getting in, definitely hit the like button because our videos are getting suppressed. Breaking news. Our notifications are not going out. Breaking news. All manner of people keep messaging me that they keep getting unfollowed out of my account. So yesterday, as we uncovered that golden receipt of David literally having his way with a 12-year-old that on a video called him sir, because that's how David likes it. David likes it when the little children called him sir. So did that Mike Rinder. So did Debbie Cook. So did Angie Blankenship. So did Pilar Saldarriaga. So did Yvonne Keller House. They all loved it when little minors would be calling them sir. So by all means, FBI advise why minors were calling adults randoms by sir. Because in what world are these billion-dollar industry that are monetizing children at an industrial size scale? Repeat for the imbeciles at the FBI who cannot connect a shred of dot, who apparently are in bad need of us having to maybe fundraise, you guys. So maybe they just don't have the money to help children. Maybe the billion-dollar industries are so scary for all the women and men that sit in that FBI with all the power to do a job. It's called investigate. It's called find out. It's called make sure that if you're there to protect children and you swore an oath, that you got the level of critical thinking skills to deal with highly psychopathic MFers that thrive because we have people at the FBI with their heads so far their own, you know exactly what in the hell we mean. And all we ever get is nothing. Trouble teen industry is alive and thriving. If it wasn't for Paris Hilton using her voice, getting a platform and mainstreaming that issue, what hope would any of those kids have in those trouble teen industries, which are still operating? Yes, they did pass a few laws. Yes, they did dial it back a little bit. But again, what type of parent doesn't do due diligence? What type of parent leaves a child unattended in a commercial building or a hotel? Underage, we're talking under the age of 18, where you do need a full-grown adult that is going to advocate on your well-being. The Scientology parents were not advocating for our well-being. The Scientology parents were full knowing, placing us in harm's way, and walking away with a straight face. So, kids who grew up tortured and abused in Scientology, our minds forever etched with the scars of unspeakable torment, bear witness to the atrocities inflicted upon us during our harrowing years, ensnared within the dark corridors of Scientology's malevolent institutions. Yet the nauseating complicity of the mainstream media persists in glossing over the harrowing truths we bravely unveil, all in the insidious pursuit of preserving the facade of a twisted organization catering to the whims of adults who reveled in their depraved culture and ill-gotten perks. Netflix documentary stands as a damning testament to the nightmarish ordeal suffered by victims like us, children subjected to unimaginable horrors at the hands of sadistic executives while being conned in a cult and being both falsely imprisoned, a felony, and kidnapped, another felony of the most serious kind. In the case of Scientology, all of their actions sanctioned by the perverted decrees of a convicted felon on the run, L. Ron Hubbard, which only serves as a chilling reminder of the depths of depravity that permeate Scientology's very core of fanatical adults who love it extreme and think nothing of subjecting underage kids to it. Let us not mince words. These execrable predators, emboldened by their delusions of grandeur, willingly sacrifice countless innocent lives upon the altar of their own insatiable egos. They cloak themselves in the garb of saviors while callously casting aside the sanctity of childhood, all to fuel their lust for power and control, fully rooted in their addiction to their own false, ridiculous, and dangerous to all children delusions of grandeur. But what manner of salvation is wrought through the enslavement and torment of innocent underage kids? This is the question that demands answers not only from the perpetrators who perpetrated these heinous crimes, but also from the guardians of the so-called justice, who have turned a blind eye to the suffering of all underage kids growing up in Scientology being sadistically and with full impunity tortured by adults, being allowed to pay for it. The FBI Crimes Against Children Unit must answer for their deafening silence and abject failure to protect the most vulnerable among us. They stand in full shame protecting child depraved degenerates that went as extreme as it gets with kids, epitomizing the definition of total moral imbeciles. The cries of our tortured childhoods echo through the annals of history, demanding justice, restitution, and above all, literally accountability. It is time for the veil of complicity to be torn asunder, exposing the rot that festers within Scientology's vile child trafficking and torture underbelly. Only then can the healing begin. We, the children and survivors of this message, are still being actively tortured by the lack of taking anything seriously and the total overwhelming complicity of this country that purports to be a nation of laws. And it's showing it couldn't be more incapable of enforcing any laws as long as money is being paid for it. $1 billion dollars. Whenever you see billion-dollar industries such as troubled teen or Scientology, all we see from the law is that they can exist and operate above the law. And the law is totally okay with this. For the people in the back that are still wanting to play dumb, let's repeat it and write it in y'all's notes. Write it down. Circle it in red and put 3 underlines underneath it. Wherever we see billion-dollar industries such as troubled teen or Scientology, all we see from the law, LAW, all we see from y'all in the law is that they can exist and operate above the law. And the law is totally okay with this. America's so-called legal system, y'all been playing nothing but dumb. Judges of America, stop playing dumb. Stop it. Don't play dumb to our face. Stop playing dumb, judges of America. Stop playing dumb, FBI. Stop playing dumb, LAPD leadership. Stop playing dumb, Clearwater Police Department. Stop playing dumb, Tampa Bay Times. Stop playing dumb, LA Times. Stop it. All of you, stop playing dumb. No one has the bandwidth to have to sit through all of these adults who still stick outside these horrible, disgusting industries where, yes, breaking news to everyone else outside of who's watching this live, you guys, that yes, turns out that it's very easy to circumvent the law in America. And if teens are involved, easier. And it's underage, the age of 12 are involved, even easier, as it's in the case of Scientology. How many under the age of 12 kids? Imagine the vulnerability. We're talking Liz Ferris. We're talking Jenna Miscavige. We're talking literally Laura Anderson. All of these kids under 12. I was born in the catering of Scientology. I was there since birth until 5, until I was drinking pain dinner. So how much clearer can it be for these people? Because now we're going to see, you know, the one little corporate media thing that came up to talk about Netflix, the program, cons, cults, and kidnapping. And let's truly react to the parallels, because the parallels are chilling AF.
Good evening. The top show in the U.S. tonight, streaming on Netflix, is based on a story 20 years ago out of St. Lawrence County. Allegations of abuse at a boarding school near Ogdensburg. 7 News reporter Lexi Burning live tonight with more from one of the school's former attendees and the county's district attorney. Lexi.
Jeff, the former student is also the director of the documentary and says her goal is to expose the, quote, troubled teen industry and bring children and teens home.
The reality is torture of children.
The reality is torture of children. How many times do we have to repeat ourselves? How many times is that sentence gonna be making a ton of sense to everyone that's still sitting around acting confused, playing dumb? Because, you know, we have a lot of laws, right? A lot of things. Well, in what world is the law any use if adults can subject children to torture, and the law says a lot of things about a lot of things and everything's very complex? because it's giving no laws are actually written to help children. They're all just a bunch of fake, unenforceable platitudes that are just being used to really give us a sense that, oh my God, yeah, we're just all relying on due process. And we have such a great due process here in America. I mean, it's legal to torture kids. You guys saw those visuals? Me too. Those are the visuals you find inside of a Scientology hotel. That's what they do to a child when a child wants to escape being interrogated against their will. They'll send goons, they'll send security, they'll send someone after you. You won't be able to get out. Kidnapping is a felony. Right or wrong, FBI, is kidnapping not a felony? Kidnapping a child, locking them up against their will. Is that not a felony, FBI? Or as long as their parents are into it, then it doesn't count, right, FBI? That's all it takes to circumvent your stupid, ridiculous, unenforceable platitude laws. That all that's being done is they're wiping their you-know-whats with the laws. They're using the law to purport, oh yeah, no, in America, the law. The buck stops at the law, you guys, really, like it does say here, false imprisonment is a felony. It does say here, kidnapping is a felony. It does say here also that if you grab a passport of a minor and you lock it up, is also a felony. But, let's all just sit outside these hotels and continue to wait, because what? We haven't shown you already that David Miscavige is a child groomer that took a 12-year-old to show all of his fanatical, obsessed sycophants that it's all good to help yourself to a child, to train an auditor, because why? Why are childhoods being literally admonished, destroyed, and tattered while all these idiots sit outside in their little boardrooms at the LA Times? Oh, let's really figure out this story, you guys. What should we write about? Oh, we can't figure it out. Oh, the LA Times and the Tampa Bay Times scratching their head. Oh, yes, Mark Bunker did get some signs stolen. Better luck to all the children that are rotting in the hotel as we speak. Better luck to them next lifetime. Right, Tampa Bay Times? Right, Thomas E. Tobin? Right, Chief Slaughter? Better luck next lifetime to the children that, as you guys all just saw it, running away through the lobby, running away from wherever they were driven to that desperation, and you knew you didn't even have a chance. Imagine that. Imagine that we knew we stood no chance against our kidnappers. We knew that we couldn't go to the Clearwater police. Because you better believe it, that these people put the fear of God inside of us. Telling us all about how you would never want to sue us. You would never want to go to the police. The police is so stupid. The police is so corrupt. The FBI are just a bunch of people that want to destroy the only hope to humanity, the technology that we have. You wouldn't want to cooperate with any of them. Do you have anyone that works at the FBI? No, then you don't qualify to work in this hotel and save a world. So imagine the FBI leadership that right about now can start typing to us. Why was I checking as a 12-year-old if other people had any relatives at the FBI, at the NSA, at the CIA, at any law enforcement agency? Law enforcement agent, pathetic people that you are. Pathetic law enforcers that cannot enforce anything. You couldn't be more useless. All of this happening under your noses, and you cannot connect a shred of dot. How big of an imbecile do you have to be to collect a six-figure salary and not be able to help kids, to go and take an oath and not be anywhere around to do your job.
Brains are forever shaped by the abuse we experienced at Ivy Ridge.
From the moment she was
Our brains are forever shaped by the abuse that we received at Ivy Ridge, this disgusting commercial building where a bunch of disgusting, sadistic adults were also being allowed by the FBI to have their way with kids inside of that disgusting, dilapidated, grotesque building. But again, guys, no one's been indicted. No one's been told that the laws will be enforced. The message that gets sent is go and abuse children. Good luck getting catched. Good luck. Good luck. You know, look at Jeffrey and Ghislaine. How much help did they get? As if the FBI is not being sued for bungling all of these investigations. Because why, FBI? Why are you all not doing your job when it comes to protecting teens and underage kids? Why are you so pathetic? Why are you so useless? Why are you get paid so much to do nothing but sit all day, sitting in a room, you know, complaining about how hard it is to build a case? Because stand to hear what she's about to say, this documentary woman that literally shout out to her. I mean, again, it's like, why does she have to be the one that has to survive this and then put it all together? Because no one else can do it or will do it, you guys. Nobody will do it.
sent to the Academy of Ivy Ridge in Ogdensburg in 2004, Catherine Kubler knew she wanted to make a documentary.
When I first got there, I was like, I guess no, someone forgot to tell me that these things exist. But then when I got out and started looking around, I was like, oh, no one knows these places exist. That's nuts.
That documentary, called The Program, Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping, was released on Netflix Tuesday. It documents the alleged physical, sexual, and psychological abuse of students at the academy.
I mean, look at the faces and the ages of these children. You guys, this might as well be exactly us, with the adulticized uniforms, putting us all to look the same, dressing us up like this, dressing up us like that, so that everything would look so well manicured and kosher. That's all it took for us to be wearing ties and little uniforms exactly like these girls with smocks. They put smocks on us, and they made us look like, oh yeah, you're all just in a study facility here. This is just a study facility. You're going to graduate from a course. You're going to go get a certificate. Look how many kids are around. This couldn't be all a disgusting child trafficking, racketeering ring that you are being a part of, because guess what? Your parents signed you up. So, you know, we got the consent of your parents. We have no moral obligation whatsoever to give an F about your preferences. That's all it took for the Scientology executives to have their way fully with any child they wanted. It was mini, miny, mo. Who am I going to take in session? Who am I going to interrogate next? Who am I going to false imprison? Who am I going to stick my fangs inside a child that had no way of fending for themselves? The only reason the law is making a shred of case for under 18, it's got to be this, is because, yes, breaking news to the entirety of America, you cannot consent. You have to have someone there looking out for you. I mean, are we speaking in a language that is so hard to understand? Like, what in the hell, you guys? Honestly, what in the literal hell can it be? So hard to see these faces of these kids and think, oh, you know what would be very hard for a predator that is stuck in a commercial building completely outside of any type of oversight of any type. Because again, whether you're a Scientology hotel doing this or you're these teen industry things, they were all about, let's put him all the way out in the rural area where no one can come and see a shred of a thing. Well, Scientology thought they had one up on everybody because, oh no, look, we do it right here in Hollywood. The LAPD just doesn't have access to what we do inside the room, but they do get paid to protect us. So this is what the LAPD is protecting. Breaking news to everyone in Los Angeles that is still playing dumb, that is still not seeing that literal protesters are getting swatted. That's the escalation of the LAPD, because apparently they cannot help themselves. Swatting protesters, marching down with guns, with hundreds of police cars, with helicopters, baseless AF. But Karen Mayor Bass, living it up in Paris, being completely comfortable that kids are being abused and trafficked in her city. And she purports to be all about really doing what she was elected to do. And wouldn't you know that she almost didn't become mayor, as she was the one that was sharing a stage, literally a stage with David Miscavige, saying how these hotels and commercial buildings were a beacon of humanity. With a straight face, that's what Karen Bass said on a stage next to Groomer of the Year David Miscavige with the 12-year-old that we just showed you all. So again, for all those people that are like, oh my God, Serge, you were hyperbolizing and it wasn't that bad, explained that 12-year-old video to the rest of the world. Right now, convince them all that David is not a groomer. Convince them all that you were not worshiping David and L. Ron Hubbard. If you were an adult paying for these services, breaking news to you, you were worshiping L. Ron Hubbard and David as a grown, consenting adult. So defend yourself. Why are you literally so comfortable enshrining that disgusting groomer that pitched you with a straight face that 12-year-olds were fair game? And then what? All our kids look exactly like this, you guys. In uniforms, in ties, in shirts, in things that looked very legit. And that's all it took for the stupid idiots at the Clearwater Police to be like, well, look, they're wearing ties. It's not like girls are walking around in thongs inside of the hotel, so it must be that they're having a very religious experience for themselves. Right, Clearwater Police?
Marketed as a boarding school for troubled teens. The crew visited the campus near Ogdensburg 4 times beginning in 2020. Kubler says they found proof of abuse in the form of documents and surveillance tapes they discovered left behind at the abandoned school.
Imagine that, you guys. The literal criminal evidence left at the scene of the crime. The FBI is too busy, doing a lot of things. Doing a lot of things the FBI does. But you know what they don't do? Go to literal crime scenes where crimes have been reported being committed on teens. Teens who needed advocates, teens who needed law enforcement, teens that were being placed in predators' hands. Teens that, thanks to the FBI, thanks to them not giving an F, thanks to them playing dumb real quick, left everything like this. All the criminal evidence, the surveillance tapes, what they were doing. Because yes, breaking news to everybody, that's what predators get off on. Recording it, watching it, seeing how their influence is paying out in the grooming that they're doing on the kids that they're abusing. So I know that's a very hard thing for everyone to understand, but you know what? We're about to really feel like we're just dealing with a bunch of literally purposeful imbeciles. People playing dumb because they can and they want and they get paid to play dumb. They get paid to turn a blind eye. They get paid to stand back and stand down and tell all the kids going to the school, better luck next lifetime when the FBI cares. Better luck then when we have the resources to give an F. Right, FBI? Better luck then. Because this lifetime, you're not getting a shred of luck. This lifetime, the billion-dollar industry that abuses kids is going to win. That's all we ever get from these people.
While there, they kept a low profile.
We don't feel welcome in that town. Every time we're there, we don't feel like we can talk openly about Ivy Ridge because we're this dirty little secret.
St. Lawrence
That's exactly how we feel when we go to downtown Clearwater. We do not feel safe in that town at all. It's a town full of dirty little secrets. Right, Tampa Bay Times? Right, Clearwater Police Chief? Right or wrong? In what world is your entire downtown compromised with these child traffickers, disgusting abusers of minors, and all of y'all are sitting out there with your patrol cars, with your guns, with your entitlement? You have the entitlement to apply the law. You have the entitlement to follow things that don't make a shred of sense. That is your job. In case you didn't know, that is your job. They are very clever in manipulating us. I mean, you guys, it's like these Scientology document leaks, or is this part of the program Cons and Cults and Kidnapping of Netflix? Because it's the same shit with a different air freshener. So breaking news to you all that are wondering if Scientology and the trouble teen industry is not the same exact shit with a different air freshener. Congratulations. Now you know. Now you all know here. At least we do know. The FBI apparently cannot know, apparently cannot figure it out, apparently couldn't be more clueless if they tried investigating their way out of a paper bag.
County District Attorney Gary Pasqua says he hasn't seen the documentary.
I'm playing that again, you guys. I'm sorry, but in what literal disgusting world? What is that evidence of? What in the hell is going on in that room? Don't worry about it. There were no criminal charges filed. Don't worry about it. There was no criminal investigation initiated. Don't worry about it. No one was charged with a crime with literal video recorded evidence, because nothing is enough for the FBI to count as evidence. Nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever good enough. Everything is complicated. The law is very complicated. We really have to figure it out. We really have to think about it. We really have to understand, oh no, I don't know if this is a crime, I could just argue that the man that's sitting there with a child with his literal disgusting leg on him is, just doing his job. In America, we let adults do their job and have their way with kids and do this. No worries. Everyone's wearing a tie, you guys. Don't you see the children with ties? It's all it took. That's all it took for the FBI to go, okay, this is not child abuse. This is, children wearing ties. So then that means that I'm supposed to think the pitch is not sadistic abuse, but, educational experience that a child is having. And this exact photo, now imagine this man is wearing a full-blown military uniform, which is the monsters that we had to deal with. They weren't just wearing like a regular old schmegular old Joe, just button up black shirt from Costco. They were wearing military uniforms. They were in full what? Cosplay. Fake military uniforms, screaming at kids, holding them down, grabbing them, pushing them to the floor. What type of religious experience is this exactly? What type of educational experience? What type of criminal conspiracy is not being investigated by the FBI, who apparently is having huge lack of critical thinking skills inside of the top leadership of the FBI? There is no critical thinking skills. Investigations cannot be conducted. No evidence is good enough. No video recordings is good enough. No matter how many kids say they were abused, we all get told that we had it wrong and they have it right. We deserve what they were doing to us. No matter the felony, you deserved it. You survived it, you deserved it. Well, the ones that died, well, then they deserved it. And you know what? It's their fault that they're not here.
He hasn't seen the documentary yet, but says allegations of abuse can have statutes of limitation of between 5 and 10 years. Still, he says he'll take any complaints from those who went to the school.
If those individuals are out there and they want to share those experiences and have us look into them, or law enforcement look into them to see if we could prosecute someone for that, we are happy to do that.
7
years ago.
Oops. Oh, well, you know, guys, give it up to this man here that is happy to what? They're happy to do that. If anybody wants to come
10
forward.
years.
Hold on, let me get...
Still, he says he'll take any complaints from those who went to the school.
If those individuals are out there and they want to share those experiences and have us look into them, or law enforcement look into them to see if we could prosecute someone for that, we are happy to do that.
Happy to do that. Yeah, you guys, isn't that so great? I mean, in what world does this attorney general think that a trauma survivor of this disgusting abuse is just dying for the opportunity to go and sit there to be told your statutes ran out because you didn't realize you were abused in 5 to 10 years? Imagine that they leave you in a state that you're lucky to literally be alive. By the time they're done with you, you are roadkill. This is all that happens by the time they are done with you. After abuse, it's common to build a life that is centered around surviving rather than living. Only until there is a distance from that pain can a survivor know they want something different. This isn't something to be ashamed of. It's them taking their life back, sending peace. So imagine that, yes, breaking news to this idiot here and all the other people in the legal profession, making it so hard for survivors of abuse to have a shred of chance to what? Build a case so no more people get abused. Build a case so it sends a message to the abusers that if you fuck around, you will find out. And imagine that the FBI, imagine that the Tampa Bay Times, imagine that the LA Times, imagine that all the grifters from the mainstream media grifting on the story of pain of teens, of minors. That what? Oh, they didn't find out in 5 years that they were abused. Oops. Case closed. Bye. Better luck next lifetime. Nothing can be done about you. We don't give a shred of an F something be done about us. We give a shred of an F. It's not being done to other literal kids that we all know are survivors of this disgusting, horrific places of kidnapping are still being done to other kids. They are going through the exact same thing that was being done on us with a straight face. And meanwhile, how hard is it being made for us to even advocate for them as if we're not being swatted? Where's the swatting of these criminal institutions literally doing the unthinkable to children? I mean, you're about to find out how easy the law really went on this. You're about to see why that stupid attorney came forward. Oh, well, if you really want to come tell us, they do have a lot of statutes of limitations if you've been abused. So, right, Mike Rinder, you had no literal agenda in running out statutes of limitations for however long you've been talking, and no child has a shred of justice for themselves. Because what? You've been keeping it all so what? Confusing? Imagine you find it confusing. You've been out of Scientology for 18 years and you still manage to find it confusing. Imagine you're that disgusting with a straight face to really purport, let me really talk on my little accent, let me really, smirk it up, and everyone's going to be buying my bullshit. So it's the law, the enablers too. It's they who are sitting out there with all the power in the world, not wanting to stop it.
7 News visited the academy a few times in the early 2000s. This clip shows students being reunited with their parents amid allegations of abuse and issuing unauthorized high school diplomas. At the time, director Jason Finlinson denied the allegation.
So imagine that, you guys. They were torturing kids, but you know what? We'll just let you go with you were issuing false high school diplomas, bad boys and girls. Okay, so give us $250,000 and just close the school, and let's just all walk away from this real quick. $250,000 for falsely issuing high school diplomas. Imagine the videos we all just saw a snippet of. Imagine they have hundreds of hours of those snuff films that the FBI finds very kid-friendly because children were wearing ties, right, FBI? That's all it takes for you imbeciles to sit outside of this problem, allowing it. If y'all don't allow it, then the criminals can run their scheme. If you allow it, then the criminals make billions of dollars. And where in the hell is the FBI? Where are they? Who are the enablers of this abuse? If the FBI is the ones that have the jurisdiction, minors were being transported across state lines, you dumb imbeciles at the FBI that cannot connect a shred of dot, that have apparently had Mike Rinder on speed dial for how many decades already? Claire Headley and Mike Rinder, your informants, FBI. Apparently, they've been telling you everything. So in what world is the year 2024 and every single abuse perpetrated on us is being done to another child, being transported across state lines, being passed through the El Paso Juarez literal crossover, as if you're not literally bringing as many children from all across other countries as you can get a hold of, FBI. So by all means, blame it just on the idiots of the LAPD, the idiots of the Clearwater Police Department. They are nothing but cockroaches at the bottom of the barrel. They've been eating with these people. They've been literally enabling all the disgusting dysfunction. In what world has this scourge of this systemic torture of minors been going on for decades? And you really think your local police departments don't have a shred of a clue? Because what? They've never stepped into the hotel? Because what? There's never been any probable cause to what? Be a little curious about something that's not making a shred of sense? Because what? You apparently are very comfortable seeing kids being beaten on the floor. And it's still passing as a very educational activity. Imagine that.
It's absolutely not true. One thing is that we take good care of the kids. We try to do the best we can, and these stories are made up.
Now,
So there's the protege duplicate man of who Mike Rinder is and was. There is you, Mike Rinder, another version of you right there. He's the Ivy Ridge version of you. Oh, the stories are just made up and it's not true. And the corporate media gives him the little interview. Okay, so what did you say? Okay, so what did you say? Okay, well, this one said that and this one said that. Okay, we'll just sit here and figure it out another lifetime. Let's just have children continue to suffer because nobody gives an F. The corporate media did this interview with this desperate man, allowed him to launder his image, asked them no follow-up questions, gave them no shred of pushback. Because that's all the corporate media does. No pushback, no common sense, no finding out why he just said that with a straight face. Were the tapes not available of the children being beaten on a floor? Because all it takes in America is, once again, breaking news to everybody, have billions of dollars in your account, like the troubled teen industry, like Scientology, and then everything is great. Everything is legal. Everything is great. Everyone is very mistaken. Everybody's lying. All these kids are lying. Everybody's just making it up. And we really tried to help everybody. Who was this man trying to help? He was helping himself. He's a disgusting man to be right there taking possession of children that were not his own. Did his parents give it to them? Yes, they did. And in the case of the troubled teen industry, like Kathy Hilton says, she did read the pamphlet. It was a pitch that looked real nice, according to Kathy Hilton. And then, yes, Paris Hilton gets kidnapped. In the case of us, our parents read the pamphlet. Our parents went to the hotel. Our parents visited the installations. Our parents subjected themselves to the sadistic, disgusting tortures being pitched to be done at the hotel. And our parents loved it. And they said, you know, where my underage 12-year-old needs to be right now, getting interrogated just like how I like it. So the troubled teen parents have a little more plausible deniability, because maybe they were like, well, you know, we did pay to send them there and we didn't think that we had to check on them because they were very troublesome for us. So maybe just gonna, you know, put this problem out of my mind right now so that my child gets, you know, abused and learns a lesson. Imagine Scientology parents do not have that excuse. Imagine you're one of those Scientology parents and you cannot even blame it on, oh, I didn't know. The problem is you knew. The problem you have today is that you knew. Your problem, Scientology parents, is not that you don't know. It's not that you didn't get told. It's not that you didn't read the pitch. It's not that you didn't visit the auditing room. It's not that you didn't visit the ethics room. It's not that you didn't visit a course room. If you are a Scientology parent and you went into a course room, into an ethics space, or into an audit room, you're implicated up to your neck and ears. You're part of a wide-ranging criminal conspiracy of sadists. Adults that are all about sharing their kids to become fair game in your disgusting hotels from hell. So just like this man goes here, oh yeah, they're all making it up and lying. You know what? No child that had their entire childhood destroyed could ever lie about the type of tortures these disgusting degenerates were all about doing for themselves.
Now, more than a decade later, Kubler says it's time for the staff to stand up and take accountability.
We shouldn't have to do another damn thing after this. And I hope that, we kind of took the brunt of it for all these survivors so they can just rest and recover and not have to continue to advocate for themselves and hope people believe them. So it's time for the staff and the adults in the situation to do something about it.
It's time for the staff and the adults in the situation to do something literally about it. Start by heading to the FBI Crimes Against Children unit. Start by writing an affidavit, literally confessing to every felony and crime that you witnessed, that you were part of, every child you locked up, every child you purported you had the authority to give an ethics interview. Write down the name of every child that you ruined. And then beg the FBI to cut you a real deal, a deal of a lifetime when you face not a shred of time inside a federal prison next to other child abusers, because maybe you took a shred of initiative to actually stop the scourge of what the fuck you were all about. Scientology parents, Scientology executives, and all the people that work at these disgusting teen industry, horrific torture chambers. Breaking news to you, the FBI. Child torture is not education. Child torture is not a religion. Child torture is illegal. It says it in the law. We did check that for ourselves. Believe it or not, our 7th grade education came in handy. Just about now, it did come in handy, and we were, okay, let's just ask the question and see if child torture is illegal or not. Because maybe that's what we're so confused about. Maybe child torture is fully legal and, we don't have a case. But it turns out that no, child torture is fully illegal. FBI. Leadership at the FBI. Go double check that for yourselves. Really quick, Google it. Ask ChatGPT. Go back to your Ivy League school where I'm sure a lot of people of the FBI really went to get educated on the law. Well, you know what? You never went to a Scientology building. You didn't go to become an investigator, to learn how to pull a string. So yes, outsource the investigation to us now, since we having to do it for you. Just like this girl had to do a documentary, because again, if these kids don't do the documentary, guess what? All their abuse was for nothing. Other kids are put in harm's way, exactly the same way that they were put in harm's way. That's the burden that's on us. We don't want to carry that burden. We are sick of speaking about this disgusting subject. We couldn't be more nauseated. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to just go, okay, well, better luck next lifetime to all the kids that are stuck inside the hotels, being told that they are adults, being told that they don't matter, being told that they need to make $2 million for Debbie Cook's replacement inside of the hotel over our dead body, Debbie Cook. You were deranged. You were disgusting. In what world were you putting $2 million on children's backs with a straight face and in a fake military uniform? You couldn't be more pathetic. You couldn't be more disgusting, grifting, cashing checks for yourself to keep your mouth shut. You should be begging the FBI to give you a deal, Debbie Cook, instead of cashing a check from Monique. So you can what? Live it up in Texas? Your fake life? purporting you're really a marketing genius, a marketing guru. Yeah, I feel sorry for all your clients, your client list filled with pathetic people that cannot Google your name to see who the hell you are. It's not like the public record hasn't been set straight already. Your bullshit thing about the email, I really wrote an email, I'm Debbie Cook. I'm really concerned about, what were you concerned about, Debbie Cook? Adults paying money, and instead of ending up locked up with children in your hotel for audits to go up the bridge, imagine you were pressed that they were giving money to build buildings that would be empty shells, and just little Dave's whatever delusion he's running about building a lot of buildings because he needs a lot of buildings to what? To hide all the child traffickers, to move them around as soon as you all find that one of you is a full-blown felon, self-admitted. And you have your little slush fund that you call Matt Pesh to move that child out of state to where? Another one of these incredible buildings, very ideal, that you keep opening everywhere, that the police is all about securing. Scientology had their own ranches and their own troubled teen industry. Imagine that. We're talking about what happened at the hotels, where they also had the hotel version of the troubled teen industry. Mind you, that people like me weren't being sent to that hotel because I was a troubled teen. People like me was being sent there because I was an adult and was such a prodigy to be doing what in the hell the adults were doing starting at age 12. Well, others of my friends weren't as lucky, because the kids that reveled, the kids that said, F Scientology, F L. Ron Hubbard, you're all a bunch of idiots, those got it really, really bad, being sent to these so-called ranches where, imagine the level of vulnerability with children being in the care of monsters that were by design kept very isolated, away from anyone that could ever want to check. And that's the troubled teen industry, and that is Scientology. Kidnapping us. Even if your parent consents to you being kidnapped, it's a full-blown felony. Every hour we spend locked up against our will inside of that hotel with our passport locked up is a full-blown felony, of which Debbie Cook is fully responsible for. But yet again, the law gives Debbie Cook the chance to collect a payment so she doesn't speak to the law about her criminal, systemic torturing of children that she was getting off on. Women were just as sadistic, perverted, and disgusting as men. Get it through your skull that it wasn't just, a bunch of creepy Joes and that's it. We had the creepy Joes. We have the sadistic women that were deranged AF. Sadists in their own right, liking doing tortures on kids in their own way. Angie Blankenship, top tier of that. Jenny the Vogt, top tier of that. Anne Rathbun, top tier of that. Soupy Shea Gentry, top tier of that. Top tier sadist, top tier delusional, top tier yelling, screaming, language of violence. I mean, speaking like true unhinged doms. No discipline, no boundaries, nothing. They just help themselves. They just abuse however many children they could get their hands on. So why did this happen? Why is America playing dumb? Why is the law purporting that it has laws against child torture. It has laws against kidnapping, only for children to then be kidnapped and tortured and told they got 5 years to realize it was a kidnapping situation and a torture. Otherwise, oh my God, better luck next lifetime. Thank you, Kim White. Thank you for your super sticker. Hello, Danny L. Illuminati. Thank you for your super sticker and thank you for your support. Really shows how much money is valued over what is right. See, FBI, even people can say in one line something that y'all would really not need to start explaining right now. Why did Jeffrey get away with it? Because he had billions. Why has the troubled teen industry has been getting away with it? Because they have billions. Why is Scientology getting away with it? Because they have billions, and that's all it takes to erode the platitude of laws that y'all swore an oath. Oh yeah, the law is the thing that we really have to do, you guys. Like, you collect your 6-figure salary over laws that you purport to give an F about. Meanwhile, where's the evidence that you give an F about the laws? If we have Jeffrey going rogue, if we have the entire teen industry troubled, so-called troubled teen industry going rogue, if you got Scientology going rogue, then how inefficient and pathetic is your organization? They were exploiting your lives for how it could benefit themselves in the organization. Thank you, TS. Now, that's what it was. That's all it was. Just how do we exploit what we want to exploit, what we want for ourselves? The youth of these kids who don't know what in the hell is being done, who don't understand the psychological warfare being played against them, because it's all being offered as, we're the ones trying to help you. Oh my God, what do you think? Your parents are paying for you to come get helped here. You're getting helped. You're a problem. You're getting helped. And yes, as 12-year-olds that we were, gullible and naive as could have been, literal Bambi eyes. Oh, okay, we're saving a world like this. Okay, so we got to do this shit. Okay, so I guess everybody's acting really confident and everybody was just exploiting meanwhile. Kim White, I'll never understand giving your children to strangers. Is their brainwashing that good, or were many of these people just neglectful, or both? It's a combination. It's a combination of both. They're all running on a false pitch. They're all being groomed by David Miscavige, showing them the children are completely fair game. So they found something good in that type of environment. They found something that made them feel powerful, really going to save our world. They're egomaniacs from hell, and that has a very detrimental approach when it comes to kids who, again, were being adulticized, and everyone at the hotel pretending, playing dumb, that kids are adults. If they were 8 years old, they were an adult. If they were 6, they were an adult. If they were 3, they were an adult. If they were 1, they were an adult. So, yes, the craziness that ensued as a result of having such stupidity, such infantile stupidity for these so-called adults. They infantilized themselves. They missed their childhood, so they wanted to play a game. And that's what this was called. The game was make your children fair game. Leave them with strangers because, oh my God, they're a Scientologist. Oh, then they know. Then they know, then they're great, then they're wonderful. And that's all it took. I mean, I know it's shocking, you guys, but that is all it takes. The people that went to this thing really found something there that was really making them get off. And all they do, like even the stupid new Vice in interview that came out with Vice. Oh yeah, look, this person that's coming here with a mask. I'm like, when the hell is Vice releasing BS with people in masks as if people are not literally informing on Scientology now without a mask? What type of distraction are you trying to run, Vice, as your stupid news agency is going under in complete bankruptcy? And apparently you have zero moral bankruptcy because all you do is, how do we platform more adults to tell America for the 10th billionth time that they were willing adults, that they consented to it, that the pitch was put in front of them, that they decided to lock up their critical thinking skills and outsource them to people running a hotel. This man said he was there in his mid-20s. Imagine you're in your mid-20s, you get pitched that you're going to have unfettered access to kids, that no one here is ever going to turn you into the police, and that as long as you pay whatever they ask you to, things can just literally float. Every single Scientologist is being told that, and there's people that are biting on that pitch. If you are biting on that pitch, then go get a criminal attorney. Fast. Get one. You paid. You allowed the culture to be that. If you didn't agree with something like that, you would be kicked out. You would not be part of the culture. So if you went inside that culture, you saw all the kids exposed to the exploitations, and you're making it about yourself, and you're nowhere on the public record repudiating the plight of minors, then you're just part of the Mike Rinder club, where everything is the nothing to do with me club. Right? That's where all the Scientology parents love to live. Oh, this has nothing to do with me. I was very abused. I really had a belief. It was the belief. It was the belief and the belief and the belief. Well, you know what? Yeah. Who followed the belief with their hands? Who locked up the child with their hands? Who kept the children role-playing disgusting things, all being watched, recorded, transcribed? There is no plausible deniability for any one of these Scientology executives. Everything is recorded. All the crimes you committed, you recorded them. You put it on the record, as if literally Laura Di Crescenzo didn't have it on her record that she was made to abort as a 17-year-old girl. And Scientology had to turn over 18,000 pages of evidence, including when this happened. We have receipts for everything. In Scientology, we have a full folder of receipts. Every day they were torturing us, it was being written down. So by all means, FBI, tell us how y'all's job is so hard. This is the easiest criminal case to make in the history of the planet. These MFers already gave you all a solid. It's called they wrote it all down. It's called they video recorded it. It's called they signed off on it. Question: did Scientology have the creed when you were in? The creed? The creed of a Scientology? I think that's what you're referring to. Yeah, but you guys, again, L. Ron Hubbard can write on the way to happiness, be great to people. L. Ron Hubbard can write a creed about, oh yeah, everybody's made the same and we're all about equality. And that's all it took for these people to be like, oh, we're so morally superior and fully ethical. There were no ethics when children were being made for game. So I'm not quite sure if you mean the creed of a Scientologist, their so-called creed, but nothing that they wrote makes a shred of sense because they're all cognitive dissonant, crazy asses. That's what becomes of their brain. That's what becomes of their reality. That's what they normalize at an industrial size scale. And that's why we're sounding the alarm on it, because you know what? It's not right. It's disgusting and it should stop. I can always send some of the hurt in Sergio's voice when he speaks impactfully. It's sad, but I'm so glad that he has a community like this to support him and give him the ability to speak out. Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, it is good to have this outlet, you guys, because it is good to be believed. It is good to be able to feel like we can do something about it after we've been told our whole lives that nothing could be done. Everything was so legal. Everything was so above water. And you know what? It wasn't. And it turns out that we're not crazy, that you are all as disgusted as we are. And it doesn't take a genius to put 2 + 2 is 4, but all we ever get is 2 + 2 is maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 11, maybe next year it'll be 23. And it's like, it's a mathematical equation. It doesn't have a million answers. It's got, you added how many kids to a hotel, and you added then how many adults inside of the hotel. What's the outcome of that? How many kids were raped? Put the number. How many kids were tortured? Put the number of hours, as if these people weren't putting a statistic to it. Well done auditing hours. They were counting it. So it's a really big problem for all of them, you guys. Thank you, Margie Barr. I grew up 5 miles from the location of Ivy Ridge. However, long before it happened, I no longer live there, but I still visit when I can. I can tell you everyone knows at home and it's horrified over it. Yeah, and shout out to all the survivors of the teen industries, you guys, because they've been through so much. Like, again, we would know because we all understand that living nightmare that we lived. Amanda, good to see you. I gotta say, I'm gobsmacked every time we go over yet another news piece that nothing really gets done. Thank you, Amanda. Yes. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And the news are just a broken cycle of nothing, right? Because it's all just these what? So, okay, so this was found. So now because Netflix is trending, let's really cover it. And let's really just cover it for 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Because in 2 minutes and 51 seconds, people are really going to find out that something should be done about kids that are still there. Hell no. Comment, last stream I was able to get live. You asked for a song, the one that makes me think of all the precious gems in its Sting, Message in a Bottle. Oh, cool. Yeah, Message in a Bottle from Sting. Yeah, Sting is great. Thank you. Yep, 12 years old. That is disgusting. Thank you, Cornelius. Please tell me the FBI has taken a statement from you. No worries if you can't say. Pink Rebel, the FBI has my entire criminal investigation that the Clearwater Police conducted and closed. So imagine that. That's the only thing that Chief Slaughter did do, apparently. Allegedly, he told the Tampa Bay Times that he had closed our investigations. Nothing came up, nothing criminal, nothing. And we send it all to the FBI, and it's been there for years, and no one at the FBI has done anything. So they've had more than a statement from me. They have a full-blown affidavit. They have every part of information that I've made available on the public record, and they still purport that everything that happened to me was legal, that I deserved it, and why in the hell am I still speaking out? Imagine. So yeah, that's the message for you, FBI. Cassandra, I lived in Augsburg for years. My brother still lives there. It's so creepy that these abusers were amongst us. I told him he needs to move. Well, yeah. I mean, imagine all the people that live in Clearwater that live amongst those people in that hotel, you guys. And I mean, imagine how long it's taken us for people to understand this is a child trafficking problem that is as serious as it gets. And again, it's one thing that even in the criminal hierarchy of things, there's the drug cartels, there's the ones that are transporting arms. But who is at the very lowest of the low of the low? Child traffickers, child abusers. You literally don't get more disgusting than that. So yeah, imagine communities that have been literally poisoned by the fact that these people are there doing their dirty, disgusting things inside their town to children. Teams seem to be marginalized, critical to protect them as they are still very much children. That's right, B. Taylor. They do get marginalized and they do go through this whole thing. It's like, oh, they're almost becoming adults. And again, it's like all these people did to us was give us ties, make it look like we were adults. And then visually, we did look like adults. And visually, when the crimes were being committed, I'm sure people were just like, oh, but they look like an adult and they act like an adult. And we were taking like an adult. We were not allowed to say no or show emotional reaction as we were getting tortured, because the tortures would just get worse. The more you reacted, the more you said no, the more they would escalate. So soon enough, you were just going with whatever they told you because you knew you had no chance against them. Philosophy, good to see you. Not hard to understand, but hard to hear. Sometimes I think people just choose to look the other way because it's so dark. Thank you, Philosophy. And yes, shout out to all of you that are here with us, holding space for these conversations, right? Because when we don't have these conversations, then the abuse of power can take place. All these hard conversations, that's the only thing. Realize that's the only thing that these abusers have. The distastefulness of discussing these subjects, because they know they're not popular, because they know that everyone would be nauseated wanting to hear about any of these things happening, because they are not human. They are not normal. It's against human nature. Their mama cubs don't go and hurt their tiny lion cubs on purpose. They don't go, oh, you're an adult, go now hunt a zebra for yourself. I mean, imagine that even Mother Nature that should come programmed into these people, but they decide to go out of that program. They decide that they're very special, that they really have it going on, that they really found a bridge that crosses nothing, and all their bridge crossed over to was how to commit felonies and safely get away with them. The FBI doesn't want to do the work. They want a nice case with a bow on top. I mean, that's exactly what it's giving, Kate. That's exactly what it's giving. It's like, oh yeah, let's just, whoopee-doo, get us the case all together so we don't have to do anything. So law enforcement went after people who didn't want to wear a mask or get a job, but if children are in danger, they do nothing. Literally. Exactly. Thank you, mankind. I appreciate it. Anyone think a celebrity talking about and bringing advocacy to Scientology kids would help? I have been thinking about contacting Paris Hilton since it's not much different. Yeah, I mean, Marina, like, obviously all platforms and celebrities that have come forward. I mean, Paris has been a huge inspiration for a lot of us in our community because we've seen her, take her power and we relate to her CPTSD and struggle and the double life that she had to almost build for herself, being this persona that was this and that was that, and all the problems that she ended up having with the law, I ended up having with the law, all that's what happens as a child when you are abused at this level. Like, you then become problematic. You do develop these like cognitive, horrible, toxic coping, self-destructive mechanisms, and our abusers know that and count on that to not get caught. Our abusers know that the more they abuse us, the more chance they have at not ever seeing a shred of consequences, And it's like, look at Paris, you would say, oh my God, she's so privileged. She's got it so good. And how long did it take her to connect those dots, for her to want to be able to even come forward about this information? The shame was stuck to us. We were so disgusted, nauseated about all of this. It's not easy coming and talking about this every day, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it's a choice. It's something that we must do because we're the only ones that are apparently able to do it. I mean, imagine how many kids are not able to do it. I mean, you guys saw the live with Michael and Liz, how she was talking about how triggering it is to go back into your past. You see, the maker of this documentary, she's like, well, hopefully we've done something where we feel like other survivors are going to be able to, just rest from having gone through war as a child. Psychological warfare. That's what these tortures are to a child, you guys. None of it made sense. None of it had a purpose. Everything was toxic, gross, disgusting, and indefensible on its face. So none of it was beneficial. None of us made us better, made us more resilient or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I think Paris is a great example of, going on the flip side and alchemizing your pain. You're left with no other choice. You're left with no other choice. And if we can help other kids not go through what we went through, then that's the only saving grace out of this horrible, unthinkable situation. At least, we are getting the message out. You guys are listening to us. We're getting other people to understand what's going on without all the other vias from the mainstream media wanting to always spin the narrative so that, they look like they're really wanting to talk about something, and it's all just a bunch of garbage. It's all just, I've been told, I've been told, I've been told. Where was their own investigation that this news agency did on this issue? Did they go to the school to check out and see if they could find something? No. It's all just regurgitated of regurgitated of regurgitated. So, that's why we're also like calling him out, because it's not cool. There is no justice for children who had their childhood robbed, but from them, no reciprocation. But there can be consequences. That's right, you guys. And there will be consequences. There will be consequences. Now there will be consequences. The cat is out of the bag. We understand what was done to us. It took us too long. We don't have the statute. Who gives? Like, we don't care. No more children should be going over what was done to us. We do have these platforms. We do have ways to advocate for them. We have an entire community of people, of auditors that are going outside and asking those questions, asking the Scientologists themselves, confronting them. You're a bunch of child traffickers. What in the hell are you doing there? We were able to write that on the literal sidewalk right across from Celebrity Center last night in our live. If you didn't see it, that's what I wrote down. I wrote down Mayor Karen Bass's name, big and bold. The community is passing by that sidewalk and reading it. And yeah, that's the only power that we do have as survivors. You know, our power has been cut from every angle. Everything is done so that the abusers get all the benefit of the doubt. They get cradled and canoodled. Oh, you didn't know. Oh, you were in a cult. Oh, you were told to do that. And we're now at the flip side where no, we're not going to play dumb anymore. It's a black and white issue. It says in the law that children cannot and should not be tortured. It says in the law that kids cannot be held against their will. So the consequences are coming. And, you know, we have a whole lifetime to right the wrongs. We're in no literal rush. If we have to talk ad nauseum, every day more and more pieces of the puzzle come together. Every day, like we said, I just showed you David Miscavige, the groomer that he is, utilizing kids. So David cannot blame that on anyone else. David cannot say, oh, that was Rafe Midoff's idea. Never mind that Rafe Midoff ran the entire grooming of case supervisors and disgusting auditors that were data mining that information with a straight face, pretending that their little machine that they studied in a 2-week course inside of a hotel was really gonna help them do something. Well, you know what? It wasn't helping anybody other than deranged, disgusting people that should have never had unfeathered access to children. Period. Full stop. That's not our opinion. That's a fact. And if no one in America can figure it out, no one at the FBI, no judges of this United States, no mainstream media of these United States, then we are figuring it out. And that is what matters here, you guys, because at least finally we do have a direct line to you guys. And you know what? The truth corroborates itself. It's that simple. You know, just like this guy was allowed to say, oh, no, nothing happened. They're all just a bunch of liars. Well, you know what? We found evidence that you left behind in your stupid school so you would get caught and contradicted. I just posted Mike Rinder's own literal memos. He was the contact person for all the Clearwater Police Department, including Chief Slaughter. Mike Rinder and Chief Slaughter go way, way back. So the truth corroborates itself. There's the evidence. As much as they purport, oh, you really have it against us, you're really out to get us, that's all they ever do, these predators. These moral imbeciles, all they can do is, let's really blame it on the kids. Helena Violeta, Paris documentary was really impactful, especially the fact that it showed how her mom really didn't accept how traumatic the experience was for a long time. I totally agree with you, Helena. And, you know, it was wonderful to see how Paris and Kathy were able to have very tough conversations and grieve something so unthinkable and be so vulnerable in front of the whole of America. I mean, you saw Kathy being so remorseful, and it took her time, but she came around to it. And again, Kathy had the plausible deniability that she wasn't aware of what Paris was gonna go through. Our parents were aware. And that's what makes us, we have irreconcilable differences. The children who grew up in Scientology and the parents don't try to reconcile us. They went to a point of no return, those Scientology parents. Once you do to a child full knowing, put him in harm's way, no child is expected to now, oh, let me really mend things with somebody that willfully had the capacity to know the relationship of as if we weren't their own blood, to put us in harm's way, and without no conscience want to take a shred of accountability, So yeah, I agree with you. The Paris documentary was great, and it gave so much hope to us that we weren't crazy, and it gave us another parallel of how so many teenagers were being abused and how hard they must have had it, and how much we've all survived it, and are doing our best to make sure that it doesn't happen to other kids. I mean, imagine how long it's taken just us to be in our midlife having to advocate for kids, and we still gotten nowhere. Imagine that everything we've done till today has not had a shred of impact on Scientology's unfeathered access to kids. I mean, when I say that the FBI is torturing us every day, that happens. The FBI is torturing us every day it happens. Our dignity was stripped. Our humanity gone. We were pawns in a scheme of disgusting, sadistic predator monsters that have been state-enabled, state-sanctioned. So that's the reality right now. Thank you. Yeah, I should clip that part. Oh, God, you guys. I have so much going on. It's hard for me to clip. I try to do this, like doing social media is like, it's so intensive. So I'm so bad at the clipping, but you're totally right. I need to do it. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Thank you, Indigo. I really appreciate that. Yep, we're staying strong and safe, you guys. I see the children. You, Laura, came out in You Now, and it's beautifully sad. COS, those children in You Still Hurt. Maybe it will lead to children today being saved through. Let it be. Yeah, we're letting it be, and we're going to continue advocating, right? Hi, Scarlett. I popped from the YouTube, literally watching episode 2 right now, the program. So many things remind me of your stories. Yeah, it's the same shit, different air freshener, Scarlett. It's literally the same thing. It's just unhinged adults with unhinged power dynamics, all just, having a feast, the feast of a lifetime. Unfeathered access to children is what these predators were after. Banco, good to see you. History has shown that children are not valuable by society generally. We need to be the change. That's right. And the problem is, you guys, that the law says that children are very important, and there are very, very hardcore laws to go after child abusers. The problem is no one's around to enforce that law. So that's where it all just becomes an empty platitude, because the law already says it's unacceptable to torture kids. The law already says all of these things shouldn't have happened, but then they play dumb with a straight face, and that's where the kids are left to fend for themselves, and they can't. They really, really can't. See, and this is wonderful, Drifter Shelley. I have a 40-year-old quadriplegic son that is still at home and cared for by us. We gave up our wants in life to make sure that he was in a loving home with us instead of putting him somewhere. And that's beautiful, and that's wonderful. And how amazing that, children are born and are inherently understanding that they are valuable just for existing. So shout out to you. for being there with him. And I'm sure that he brings you so much joy. And that's what family should literally be all about. Nebulous 111. Them duckies are absolutely quackers if they don't think they will get away with it. Quackers. That's right. They're just quacking and quacking and quacking. You would wear merch. Thank you, Indigo Twin. I know I have to get to it. You guys have been asking about it forever, and I'm gonna see if Michael can help me because I would like to have you guys help me spread the message. That means so much. Thank you so much for that. Veganista. Existing laws are almost never enforced in LA. True. True. But, we do have the laws, so the law's still on our side, We have to at least try. Are you guys going to protest this weekend? Yeah, probably. Every day. Every day is a protest, you guys. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. Well, that was the part that we wanted to react to today. We're going to be doing more content, and actually we're going to be doing an interview with a child that was inside one of these child ranches. And we're going to talk about the parallels of this documentary and their experience. And we're going to talk about the differences. And we're going to talk about, raising more awareness and uniting to give power to survivors and continue carrying this cross that we do bear now, because it is the cross of trauma, but also letting it go at the top of the hill where it lands exactly where it needs to land, on top of the head of all the predators that have been allowed to abuse kids with full impunity. That's not going to stand for the rest of time. So I really want to thank all of you for watching, and I will see you all extremely soon. Bye-bye.